Million gallons of oil is tainting the Gulf of Mexico right now and threatening wildlife. Crews don't know exactly when or if they'll be able to plug the well that's been gushing for weeks. This is their next best hope. Check out these new pictures of what's called the Top Hat. That's a smaller containment device being prepped for use this week after a giant dome failed to stop the spill over the past weekend. We learned just moments ago that the Top Hat is on its way to the well site and could reach it by this evening. BP has released very limited underwater video of the leaking well and efforts to cap it. But here in Washington, the Obama administration is trying to show it's on top of this huge crisis. It announced a new plan today to split up a key Interior Department agency that oversees both offshore drilling with another part of that agency dedicated to inspecting rigs and enforcing safety and collecting royalties and fees. Is there a built-in conflict of interest there? I'll speak about that with the Interior Secretary, Ken Salazar. That's coming up ahead. In the meantime, top executives for the three oil companies primarily involved in this huge spill face very angry lawmakers up on Capitol Hill today. Brian Todd's been covering this story for us. Brian, these lawmakers, they're angry and for good reason.
They are, because the blame game has started. It actually started shortly after this blast, Wolf. It did nothing but continue today. It's been tough all along to get answers on the cause of this blast. We still don't have them. And one reason why, there are three very powerful companies who are in charge of this operation. The drilling rig is owned by Transocean. The blowout preventer that failed, owned by Transocean, made by someone else. The cementing operation, which now looks increasingly crucial in this entire equation, run by Halliburton. But the overall operation, the decisions, the key decisions, well, BP was in charge of that. And today, all three companies tried to deflect responsibility on each other.
As the leaders of the three key companies involved, these men are supposed to have the answers. Almost a month after this catastrophic blast, they couldn't point to a cause, but they did have plenty of blame for each other.
Transocean, as owner and operator of the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig, had responsibility for the safety of drilling operations.
In the hallway, I asked Transocean's chief executive if he accepted that.
Are you prepared to really take the hit?
Stephen Newman didn't answer, but in his testimony, he did dispute BP's accusation that the failure of Transocean's blowout preventer caused the accident. And he repeatedly blasted the oil giant that's been his company's close partner, saying as the operator of the rig, BP was responsible for the work. The only time these execs came close to discussing a possible cause, they lapsed back into the blame game. It came during questioning about something that happened on the rig shortly before the explosion. According to accounts of rig workers in the Wall Street Journal, there was an anomaly. Heavy drilling fluid called mud was pumped into the well to stop gas from escaping. But then, in an unusual move, the mud was removed before a cement plug could be put in. It was done, they said, after someone asked permission from the Minerals Management Service.
Do you know whether BP made that decision or did Transocean make that decision?
Because BP are the operator of the well, and BP are the permit holder, and BP have the relationship with the MMS, if there was a discussion between somebody and the MMS about whether or not it was appropriate to proceed in a particular fashion, that conversation would have taken place between BP and the MMS.
Halliburton was in charge of the cementing operation, but Halliburton's executive also deflected.
However, if a discussion took place, it would be with the leaseholder and the MMS.
Well, what knowledge do you have about a decision being made to remove the mud before the plug was finished?
The only information that we have that it was part of the well program.
Now, BP's executive Lamar McKay said he had not reviewed that procedure and would not comment. Contacted by CNN, a spokesman for the Minerals Management Agency would also not comment, citing the pending investigation, Wolf.
And this whole restructuring of this key agency, as we've been pointing out, it now seems that they're acknowledging there was this built-in conflict of interest.
There clearly was, and the Interior Secretary, as you mentioned at the top, is going to split it up. Specifically, here's how he's going to do it. The inspection, investigation, and enforcement divisions of the Minerals Management Agency will be separate and independent from what they call the leasing, revenue collection, and permitting functions. Right now, it's all part of the same agency. Essentially, they collect royalties from the energy giants on behalf of the taxpayers. At the same time, they're enforcing the rules against those energy giants. It's clearly a conflict, And now Secretary Salazar is going to address that.
Yeah, I'm going to be speaking with him later this hour about this.
Right.
What some of critics have pointed out, this cozy relationship between this
big accusation.
Yeah, between the Department of the Interior and these oil and natural gas companies. All right, thanks very much, Brian.